Hello guys, I am in my new home, except you can tell by the title, I'm not in Canada. So yes, I have moved to the US, specifically Tennessee, Nashville area, not exactly Nashville, but just Nashville area. I'm like slightly nervous for this video. I don't know why, because I just feel like people have so many opinions when it comes to like people moving across countries. It's crazy because I feel like a lot of people are moving nowadays to different countries, and I look at their comment section and you have like the positive people and then you have like people judging, right? So I feel like that's why I'm a little nervous for this video. But I just want to say I am so grateful for how supportive you guys have been in my last video, just seeing, you know, the move and how I sold my home. And so many of you guys, regardless of kind of being confused, just wondering like, okay, you sold your home, what's next? Like, where are you going? Like, you know, regardless of you guys still having that question mark, so many of you were just supportive regardless. And that's how I know y'all are ride or dies. Like, you're gonna ride with me no matter what and stick with me and just give me that support. And I felt so loved and so supported. So I moved to Tennessee. I just want to say, I know it looks like from the outside looking in, like I just visited Nashville a month ago and now I just moved like this. And that's not the case. Well, it's like almost the case, but not really. First of all, my husband and I have been wanting to move to the US for like years, but it was never serious for me because I was like, there's no way I'm moving that far away. Like, Canada was where I was born. It's always been my comfort zone. And the biggest thing for me, I was like, there's no way I'm moving away from family. Like, there's literally zero chance. It's just not happening. That was my mindset for years. And although that is still the number one reason that haunts me, like me and my husband talk about it all the time, we just wish like family was here. That's still like the reason that just like haunts us, right? Like the number one con of moving. My mindset changed, and I'll explain why. For years, I've always like flirted with the idea of like moving to the US, right? But never was really serious. But then a year ago, it started to just become a reality for me. I talked about it in my last vlog about how I've changed so much as a mom, and having Kylo now, I don't want a lifestyle where I have to work so much just to keep up with the cost of things. So there's so many reasons why we decided to move. There's so many. Some of them I'm not even gonna get into because they're too controversial. There's so many reasons, but a big reason was that. And I know that this is relative. I just wanna say that because there are people in America that are struggling right now. And for example, there's a lot of Americans that are like, oh girl, like the inflation is crazy. The cost of living is like crazy. And I get it, it's all relative. But when you compare it to Canada, y'all got it good out here. Again though, this is all relative. Like, there's always somewhere that's worse off than you and there's always somewhere that's better off than you. And again, like I said, it just depends. Like, if you have a remote job where you're easily able to pick up and go somewhere else and keep that same salary, but go somewhere that has a lower cost of living where you can work less and enjoy more time with family. Like, it really is all relative. I'm not saying the grass is greener anywhere. I think it just depends on your specific situation. And for my specific situation where my job is literally mobile, I can pick up the camera and I can go to Italy or Portugal or France and I can work there for a year if I wanted to. Like, I can really do that. I'm so freaking grateful for that. Like, there's days where I wake up and I'm just like, wow, I would have none of this if it wasn't for you guys. Literally, there would be a 0 on the views section of my video. This is a career, it's because of you guys. So I can do that. I can pick up my job and go anywhere. So for me, moving to the US, or Tennessee specifically, because the US is huge, like there's so many states, moving Tennessee specifically, it's just a lower cost of living. That was one of like the biggest reasons, because I am able to spend more time with Kylo now. In Canada, like, things were getting so bad. The cost of things were getting insane. Mortgages were raising so high for everyone, to the point where people are literally working 3 jobs and not even seeing their kids. And I still was so grateful because I have a job that I was still able to be home. But it's like, I wasn't able to be with Kylo that much because I'm having to have my mom watch him so I can like work a lot. And I didn't feel fulfilled. Like, I want to be with my son. The cost of living the way it is here, I'm able to just work 2-3 days out of the week and spend the rest of it with him. And another big reason too, a lot of people were wondering why I sold my home. The biggest reason was we purchased our home in a city at the perfect time in the GTA. It was the perfect city because it was right before it took off and grew. And we knew that. Like, our realtor even told us, my husband and my realtor were like, you guys like need to buy a home here because this city is going to grow in the next few years and you're gonna make a good investment from it. I love this home so much. I'm so excited to share with you guys. So here we are. Here's my new home, and I'm gonna give you guys a semi-empty
home tour. First thing you have is a formal living room. This is the room that actually has the most furniture in it, funny enough, because I ended up finding some things that I wanted. You have your basement right down there. You have the upstairs right over there. So I am just obsessed with how many windows there are. We actually ended up doing motorized blinds. Come in here, you walk right to the kitchen, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. My total dream kitchen. Like, I cannot believe I'm even standing in here, all white. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Like dying.
So I'm glad I listened because it was a good city to invest in, because within 2-3 years, the city just grew and I was able to sell my home and make a really good investment from it. Like, I just got really good equity from it, from what we gained. So I'm able to take that money now, invest it into my businesses so that I can financially secure my future so that I don't have to work as much. Like, the whole goal for me is really to just be able to be almost a full-time stay-at-home mom. I'm always gonna wanna do YouTube and do social media and love that, but I don't wanna have to rely on it as heavily, which is why I moved here. Because like I said, in Canada, things just got so bad with like the cost of living that it's like people are having to work so much just to make it through. And here it's way lower. I don't know if I'm making sense, but basically I was able to take the investment from selling my home, and now I can use that money to invest in my businesses, to, you know, secure my future financially, to invest in stocks and just different things so that I can have passive income at some point, and so that I don't have to work as much, so that I can spend more time with Kylo. I'm not gonna get on a tyrant, but I feel like today's world is so backwards. I know things are the way they are, and like so many people don't have control over it, and it sucks, but it's like this whole like you work 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and then you get 2 days off, Saturday, Sunday, and then you go right back to work Monday to Friday. Like, who decided that? Ever since I had Kylo, I had a huge revelation where I'm just like, who decided that? We should actually be spending more time with family, more time living life and enjoying life, instead of working 5 days and being off 2 days. And I think everyone would agree with me, but obviously I know with the way the economy is, like, it's just not possible. I know that. It's crazy just how far bad things have gotten, but I feel like we should be working 3-4 days and having 4-3 days off. Do you know what I mean? There should just be a better work-life balance. And what I'm saying is I've been craving that ever since Kylo was born. I'm just craving being a stay-at-home mom more and being with him more and not having to work as much. Also, there's a huge aspect where I'm like, in order to do that, you have to downgrade your lifestyle a little bit sometimes too. So when we moved here, obviously a big thing was like our car. What are we gonna do with our car? Are we gonna keep it? Are we gonna take it? Are we gonna get rid of it? Immediately, I was like, I wanna get rid of it. Like, I want it out of my life. Why? Because the car payment was high. I don't need to say the exact amount, but what I'm trying to say is the way my brain works now, I'm trying to think to myself, how can I minimize the amount of money I'm spending on expenses each month so that I can maximize how much I'm saving, so that I can spend that money on things like vacations with my son. Like, I just want to make memories with Kylo, go places and experience things with him instead of spending money on materialistic items. And my lifestyle before, it's like our car payment was so high. I'm not going to say the exact number, but let's just throw out a number here. And this is not the number that I was paying for my car, but I'm just going to throw out a number. Let's say you're paying $500. There's even people paying $1,500. Okay, let's say you're paying $500 a month for your car. At the end of the year, times 12, you're spending $6,000 on driving a vehicle. And that doesn't include gas, that doesn't include insurance. That $6,000 could be 2 to 3 vacations with your family that you can like go and make memories and enjoy life, right? But instead, you're like spending money on a car, on a materialistic item. My mindset just shifted like that, and I was like, no, you know what? I want to get rid of the car. I ended up buying a used car, paying for it in full, having no car payment, and obviously I could have done that in Canada. I'm not saying I couldn't have, but the way that things are so expensive there, it's like, in order for you to have a lower cost of living, you have to downgrade your lifestyle to like nearly nothing. Like, it's almost next to impossible there. I'm not even gonna get into it, but anyways, I'm just explaining kind of like my life shift, like where my mindset is heading now. I want to just maximize time to spend with my family. If I'm being honest with you guys, I wish I could just be like full on transparent here and like go deep into all the different reasons, but I can't because like it's just too controversial. That's not my presence online. I'm not here to like discuss the economy and the political state of things in Canada right now. I'm just not here to do that. Like, that's just not my channel. I don't need to be doing that right now, even though, you know, I'd be wanting to. Another big reason, better weather. Like, I started to get to the point where I just cannot handle the weather in Canada anymore. You get 2 months out of the entire year where it's good weather. Like, does nobody realize how sad that is? Like, that's actually depressing. You really only have like June, July, and August. Okay, like 3 months out of the year. June, July, and August where you can really enjoy yourself. The rest of the year is pretty cold. Like, I will give it to Canada. May last year was fire. It was so nice and warm, so you got that extra month. But this year, May was cold, and actually even June was cold. We had a barbecue at my parents' house this past June, 2 months ago. We had to put on sweaters in the backyard. Like, how sad and pathetic is that? You go through like 8 months of winter. June is finally here and you're like wearing a sweater. It always did bother me. I always hated like the winter, right? But I'm such a homebody that I always was able to just like hibernate during the winter and just kind of get through it and just make it through it. But ever since having Kylo, I'm not able to do that anymore. He's such an outdoorsy kid. He literally would stand by the window in the winter and beg to go outside. And I would go outside with him and I would stand in the freezing cold while we're wearing like 3 layers of clothing and we're standing in the freezing cold for like an hour. And all I could think in my head was like, bro, I gotta do this for the next few months. Like literally, if it was just like a month or 2, okay, cool. No, it's literally November, December, January, February, March, and most of April. It's like a good 6 months that you have to just like stand in the cold with your toddler. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I cannot do this anymore. It just became to a point where it was like really difficult. We were having to stay inside all the time and Kylo would just beg to be outside. I remember one time we went outside and the snow was just blowing in his face and he's like, home, I want to go home. I was dying. But anyways, it's like he wants to be outside, but it's freaking freezing and we're like dying. And again, if that was just like 1 or 2 months, it's fine. But to do that for like 6 months with a toddler, I've actually had so many of you moms message me and DM me on Instagram that were like, yeah, oh my God, I cannot do another winter with a toddler. Like, it's so depressing. And it's not only just that. Kylo wakes up at like 6 a.m. and he's like ready to go outside. 6 a.m. in Canada in January, it's not a vibe. It is not a vibe. It's pitch black and it's freezing cold. I think everything is relative. Like, I didn't choose to move to Florida, I moved to Tennessee, where yes, there is 4 seasons still. Tennessee does still get winter, but it is a very mild winter. I've done extensive research and I've talked to so many people here. There's actually a girl who moved from New York that I met that moved 2 years ago that has a 1-year-old. There's a girl that moved from Toronto like 10 years ago. Spoke to everybody and they were like, the winters here are a joke, especially when you compare it to Canada. It's like cool for like a month or 2 and that's it. You might get a little bit of snow and that's it. And for me, I'm just like, I didn't want to go somewhere that was like warm all year round because I feel like I would get a bit, I don't know if lethargic is the word, but like a bit like tired of that. Like, you know what I mean? I do like the seasonal change. I think it's actually such a nice shift for us. But with Canada, you get the seasonal change, but what comes with it is like a 6-month commitment to a brutal winter. I will say the winters have gotten a little bit better in Canada, but they're still freezing cold. Like, it's still -2 and you're standing out there with your toddler. So yeah, I still wanted the seasonal change, but I didn't want the full commitment to a 6-month winter with the seasonal change. Like, in Tennessee, the weather is just absolutely stunning. You get the seasonal change without having to commit to such a long winter. And the winters are way more mild. Like, y'all know if you follow me on Instagram, I kept their weather on my weather app so I could stalk the weather throughout January and February to see what it was like. And it was so much better than Canada. Like, you still get cooler weather, like 10 degrees, 15 degrees, sometimes 5 degrees, but like for the most part, it stays between like that 7 to 15 in January, which is like a dream. Obviously, it's still cold some days and you need a jacket, but that's like for a month or 2, and then you're right back to getting some beautiful warm weather. Like, everyone I've spoken to here that lives here is like, the weather's beautiful. And some people say the weather's bipolar, which I know. I think they say that because in the winter, you can literally have a morning that's like 5 degrees, and then by the afternoon, it's like 20 degrees. But to me, I'm just like, I'd rather that than the whole day being like -5 for 6 months. The vibe in Tennessee is just so my vibe, especially the town that I'm in specifically. It just depends where you are, obviously, but the town that I'm in specifically, you get such a like small town, charming vibe. Everywhere you turn, there's like farms with animals. You could be casually in a suburb. Like, we have a farm literally a 1-minute walk away from us with gorgeous horses. Like, I step outside and walk for a minute and me and Kylo just go look at the horses. It's stunning. And that is like a norm here. You're just like casually in the suburbs and there's just like casually a farm with gorgeous farm animals in the suburbs with you. Like it's just stunning. And I hope that that never changes. I know that like a lot of people are moving here and with the growth, obviously they need to build more homes. But from what I know, Tennessee has a lot of laws like conserving farmland and these things. So I'm hoping that never changes. And I'm hoping they keep a good balance between building more homes and conserving that. But I'm not even gonna get into that. Anyways, oh my Lord. This video is just like too funny because like there's certain things that I obviously wanted to discuss, but I'm like, I just don't want to get too controversial here. Anyways, so that was a big reason. Lower cost of living, better weather, more affordable homes, especially land. Like it's just more affordable here. That's obviously our goal in the future, is to have land for Kylo to run on. And to be affordable and do that in Canada, you'd have to like live 3 hours away, which at that point you're 3 hours away from your family. So what's the point anyways? Or if you go close to your family, good luck. You need like $4 million to buy like 3 acres of land. Like, do you know what I mean? My dream is just to have land for my kids to run on. Like that is my dream. And I would love to have that one day. And that's just not a reality in Canada. I'm looking at the list on my phone. I have a list on my phone of like reasons. The hardest part about this has been family. Like when I tell you there's been a lot of tears, there's been a lot of tears and family drama behind the scenes, y'all, okay? But everyone has been supportive in their own way. Like everyone has been supportive, but at the same time, people are going to have their feelings too. And obviously everyone has been so sad about us moving, especially with Kylo. It's been really difficult and I'm not even going to cry in this video, but it's been difficult. There's actually so many Canadians that have reached out to me since I visited Tennessee. A lot of you guys kind of like were wondering like, oh, are you moving there? I had a lot of Canadians message me that were like, me and my husband are thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, our family, there's like, that's always the thing. So many things kept happening where I'm like, okay, is this like meant to be? Our realtor, when we met with him, he was like, you guys are the third people that told me you're moving to Tennessee. And I'm like, what? There's like 2 other people like that you just worked with recently that moved to Tennessee? And he's like, yes. And I was like, what are the odds? And then when we came here and we were at the bank, our banker or bank teller, he was like, I have had 10 Canadians in the last 2 months, 10 Canadians move here. And I'm like, what? Like, what are the odds? Because I kept feeling like, oh my God, am I doing the wrong thing? This is just our second week here and I still have moments where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Like I said, like I will never know. Like our whole thing is we're gonna try this out for a year and see how it goes. And I very well, maybe I won't end up liking it. Maybe it's going to be too hard being away from family. That's okay. It's okay to try things in life and see how it goes. So we'll just see how it goes for the next year. And if it's too hard, you know, whatever. But we're trying it out to see how it goes. And there's so many moments where I'm just like, am I doing the right thing? Because it does get hard being away from family, especially with Kylo. Like Kylo loves his aunts, loves his Dina, loves his grandma and grandpa, and it's really hard. So that is like the hardest part about it. Anyways, there's moments like that where I'm just like, okay, I'm not alone. There's other people that are also moving here. So it's like, it gives me a little bit of comfort. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but anyways, our realtor was telling us that his wife actually wanted to move too, but the only reason why they're staying is because of family. I feel like that's like the only reason a lot of people don't want to move. And that was my reason for so long. But after a while, you start to realize that like at the end of the day, everyone has their own life that you live on a daily basis. And it's like, I'm the one that's having to struggle outside in the cold for 6 months with a toddler. We're the ones that's having to like work so much just to keep up with the cost of living that have gone up so much and not even spend that much time, you know, together as a family. Like at the end of the day, your family unit specifically is the one that you have to make decisions for. When you have a son, things change. Like now that's like my little family. I don't know. We're trying it out for a year. We'll see how it goes. You know, I'm sitting here knowing that like maybe I'm not going to be able to do it. Maybe it's gonna be too hard. The first week, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. Like I was like feeling a little bit emotional, like wondering if I made the right decision. But this week I've been feeling a lot better. I think there's this transition period, you know, but overall I just love living here. The weather is beautiful. It's stunning. The views are just gorgeous. Like Tennessee has my freaking heart. Like literally Tennessee has my heart. Like a gorgeous, gorgeous state. Another reason is it's really hard to be an entrepreneur in Canada. Canada makes it really hard for small businesses. Like they practically make you jump through loops and hoops, and Tennessee as a state is a lot more business friendly. Yeah, those are my reasonings, guys. And I'm just excited for this new chapter. And I'm so appreciative of like the support you guys have given me so far. And I hope you guys continue to support me throughout this journey and just ride along with me, y'all. Let's see how it goes in Tennessee. And yeah, also I did vlog throughout this process, which you guys saw my moving vlog, but there were parts in that process where specifically pertains to moving to the US. So I'm gonna play the vlog clips now throughout this whole process. It's been a long process. Just like being able to like get into the US is not easy. It's been a lot. I did vlog throughout it. So I'm gonna play the vlog clips from the last few months here for you guys. But yeah, just again, thank you guys so much for the support. Okay. Here's an update. We're now in April 3rd, and this whole process has been wild. Like, I feel like I've gone through a whirlwind of emotions in the last month. Everything from like excitement and happiness to like nervousness and scared, anxious, second guessing my decision, then being so sure about my decision. It's just been a lot. And it's also just been hard because there's so many different elements to this move. But yeah, literally the day after I filmed the first clip, actually no, that day, a few hours after I filmed that, our home sold. So it literally sold in a day and a half. I couldn't have asked for like a more dream scenario, honestly, which just kind of like reaffirms and reassures my decision that like what's meant to be will be, and like things happen for a reason. When you're selling your home, there's like an ideal scenario, right? It literally was the ideal scenario. We got way more than we wanted, sold in less than a day and a half. Like, it just reassured me that like this is what was meant to happen. But at the same time, I was so emotional and like so overwhelmed. But anyways, I kind of felt a little bit like rushed into it in a way. And by rushed, I mean, like I said, I didn't want to lose out on an amazing opportunity to leave with a really good investment. You know what I mean? In a way, I felt a little bit rushed just with the current like Canadian housing market situation. So I really had to process all of my emotions super quickly. Don't get me wrong, this wasn't like a decision I made like in the span of like a day. But like I mentioned, I was hoping to wait until like maybe spring 2025, but then, you know, decided that now was the right time. And I'm so glad that I did because it paid off. It just reassures me that I made the right decision. But at the same time, I had to process a million different emotions in the span of literally like 2-3 days. I went from like step one, making the decision to be like, now's the time. Let's do this now. Let's not wait any longer. Why wait? And then step two, oh my God, this is happening. I'm actually selling my home that I built and customized. And then step three to, oh my God, we're getting so many offers. And then step four, oh my God, we just sold and signed on the dotted line. To step four, being like, oh, or step 4 or 5, lost track. Okay, but you get the point. To being like, oh, we gotta get out of here. We gotta pack up. You know what I mean? It's just like I had to go through all of these emotions in the span of a few days, and it was wild. Okay, I feel like now that I've had time to digest, I'm in a good place now, but still this whole process is super emotional. You know, you're moving away from family, so there's that element of it, and they're emotional about it too. And so everyone's just like dealing with their own like emotions, and there's just, it's a whole lot. But at the same time, it comes with so much excitement because I am excited for this new chapter in my life. There's an element of like, I've had days where I'm like, what am I doing? Am I making the right decision? Like, especially now as a mother, like I'm responsible for Kylo. So it's like these decisions that I make in life, I'm responsible for this kid. And it's like, I sit sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? Am I crazy? But I'll tell you one thing, I have come across so many signs that just reassure my decision. And I actually came across this Instagram reel of this guy who moved from Canada to Miami, and he was saying he was so scared. Like, he was so scared. It was the scariest decision he'd ever had to make in his entire life. And he said he doesn't regret it one bit. It was the best decision he ever made. And something he said, I was like, this is just so true. He said the scariest decisions usually turn out to be the best decisions, because to really make it happen in your life, it takes balls. Like, you have to make a scary decision sometimes, you know? And it's actually true, because I look back and I'm like, oh my God. And you know what's crazy? It's actually true, because I look back at my life and all of the big scary decisions I made turned out to be amazing things. For example, starting a YouTube channel. I was freaking petrified to start a YouTube channel. Literally petrified. I remember telling people I wanted to start a YouTube channel and they would laugh at me. I'm not joking, laugh. And I would laugh at myself because I'd be like, ha, yeah, like that's so stupid, right? Like, why would I do that? This is 2013, by the way. So I remember laughing at myself even and having people laugh at me. And then telling my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, that I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And he didn't laugh. He did not laugh. Like, ain't shit funny to him. Like, that shit was not funny. The first words that came out of his mouth was, so do it. And I was like shocked by that response. I was like, oh, you know, to hear from people laughing at you when you say that, and then someone's like, so do it. Like, if you want to do something, do it, make it happen. And so to have somebody just so confidently and so nonchalantly believe in me, I was like, oh. And I remember that day we went home and went on my computer and started a Gmail, because at that time I had a Hotmail. You needed a Gmail account to connect to your YouTube. And I started my YouTube channel. I did not upload until a month later though. And I was so scared, but it paid off. I'm here like 10 plus years later, and I have this amazing
amazing career. Like I could cry right now, but I'm not even going to, that I've created for myself. And that was the scariest decision I ever had to make, to sit there, record a video of myself and put it up on the internet while I was in college. So I was in college for social work and I was petrified that the other students in my class would judge me. I'm like in school for social work, but I'm like on YouTube talking about makeup. So I was like so freaking scared. I thought this is so weird. Why am I doing this? I should just put my head down, finish college, work in a quiet little office. But there was like this screaming voice inside of me that screamed like, you want more than that. And I had to listen to that voice, but I was so freaking scared. So anyways, that's decision number one. Decision number two, to quit my job and only do YouTube. That shit was scary. And my parents were like, you're gonna what? You're going to quit your job? Like what? To do this thing on the internet? Like, are you insane? And at that time I was making pretty good money, but it's like to them it was still insane. And you know, but I was petrified. I was scared. I actually delayed it for so long. I was making pretty good money for a long time, but I kept my job because I was so scared. It paid off. I ended up being able to spend more time on my YouTube channel because I wasn't having to go to my job. So I was able to dedicate more time to my YouTube, and my channel blew up that year. Like my peak YouTube career days were 2016, 2017, and 2018. Those were my peak years, and that's when I quit my job, was the end of 2015. I was able to dedicate all my time. So that was scary decision number two that paid off. Scary decision number three that paid off was moving out of my parents' home. I was petrified. Okay, I was 21 and my dad straight up looked at me and was like, are you crazy? Like, you better think about this decision because you don't know what it's like to live on your own, pay your own bills, have to pay your own groceries, have to pay rent at the end of the month. Like, you're going to be by yourself and responsible for yourself. You're going to have to do everything on your own. It scared the shit out of me, but I just knew it was time. I had to just, like, I was 21. I was making good money. I had a good career. I had a boyfriend that I was with for a few years who's now my husband. Like, I was ready to freaking spread my wings and fly. Like, what was the point of me staying home? You know what I mean? Like, I was ready for it, but I was freaking scared. Like, when I tell you I was petrified, they're not live anymore, but if you follow my vlogs on this exact channel from years ago, I literally had a vlog of me crying because I was so freaking scared to move out. I was such an emotional wreck like Tuesday to Thursday of last week, but I promise you guys I'm good now. Contrary to what it looks like, I swear I'm good now. I'm good. Like, I've come to accept that I'm moving on in life and it's a positive thing. I'm definitely gonna miss, you know, living under my parents or being with my sister all the time. You guys know my sister's like my best friend. That's another emotional thing. Like I said, I'm good now. I've come to terms with the fact that it's life. It's what I'm ready for and I'm super excited. That was a scary decision number three that paid off. I moved out and I was able to dedicate even more time to my career because I had my own space, my own filming space. Then I bought this home all on my damn own, obviously with my husband, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't need my parents' help. When I had that realization the other day, it gave me so much reassurance that like the scariest decisions in life are the ones that pay off. And hey, I'm not gonna be like ignorant and overly cocky right now and say, I know this is the best decision. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying this out. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. It doesn't work out. I can take another route. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is just because something is scary does not mean you shouldn't try. Like, just try. Life is too damn short. If I don't like going to the States, I can just come back. Like, it's not that serious. Do you know what I mean? I try to just remind myself of that. And like I said, the scariest decisions are usually the most rewarding. But yeah, I do think of that sometimes. Like, am I making the wrong decision? I guess we shall see. Life is too short. You don't know until you try. And like, life is short, man. I might go and live in, I say this all the time. I said this to my sister the other day. I live in Portugal for 3 months, then I might live in Spain for 3 months. It's crazy because that is so not something Amy would say, right? Like, that is not usually like me, but I told my sister this the other day. I have changed so much since becoming a mom. Now that I've had Kylo, I just think of life differently. I think of life as being too short. People always say like, oh, I would die for my kid, you know? Like, I would die for them. And I would like to think, no, I want to live for my kid, right? Like, I actually want to do the most. Like, I actually want to take care of my health, be in good shape, feel my best, take risks, accomplish dreams and goals so I can live the fullest for my kid, right? Like, to me, that actually means more than dying for your kid. You know what I mean? Like, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, but I've just changed so much since having Kylo. For example, I never had a desire to travel before Kylo, and I had all the means to, and I was single, not single like no kids, but obviously I had my husband, but like when I say single, I mean like no kids. So I could travel freely, right? right. I had the means to, never did not have a desire to. Now I have such a desire to just go and explore the world and like travel. I would love to go on vacations a few times a year and just like, yeah, I feel like I'm just different now that I'm a mom. I'm a little bit more go with the flow. I'm still such a like type A personality, you guys know that, but I'm a little bit more go with the flow. And I also just see that life is short. I want to see things, explore things. And I also am in a place where I'm just like, I have goals that I want to accomplish, and now's the damn time. And it might feel scary, but I'm hoping it pays off. And like I said, it's not the end of the world. If things don't work out, I can always come back or try something else. I always remind myself of that. So I don't know, I'm just sharing my thoughts with you guys because I feel like stuff like this sometimes from an influencer's perspective, it's like you can watch an influencer and things just seem so easy and so perfect. So I'm like, I'm hoping that this moving vlog really shows like what it's like, you know, when you're making a scary decision or a super big move. It's like just not easy. Like I told you guys in the last clip that I was like bound to explode and have my crying session. I had my crying session, okay? But like I said, it's been about just under a month now, and I feel like I've really digested everything, but it's still super scary. Like I sold my dining table the other day and my whole dining area is empty, and it was just like crazy to see. My home is starting to look empty. My studio's almost empty, dining room almost empty. I sold my living room rug. It's like everything is starting to look empty, and it's a little sad in a way because I love my home, but in another way it's like a little exciting. It's just like a lot of different emotions.